to the vlog. I'm just back from the wreath making workshop, which you would have just seen a few clips of. I am really chuffed with the end product. I think these things always look so much prettier in real life than they actually do on camera. Hopefully you can see that this is it's not artificial. Everything in here is real. I'm going to actually put this down because it's so heavy. So yeah, I think I did not bad for my first attempt. So I really enjoyed the experience actually. You can see my pounds here and croissants ready to go in the oven. So yeah, really enjoyed that experience. It's actually a lot more hard work than it looks, but it's definitely something that I would do again in the future. I think I mentioned that in another video, but I did it at Joshua Plumtree in Kerry. So definitely well worth all the excitement. I just need to get the hanger to hang it up somewhere in the house. I don't think I'm going to put it outside. I think I'm going to hang it inside on one of the doors in here, maybe on the kitchen door. I think would be the best place for it, so that you still see it as you walk in. And the other thing I want to get anyway, because I need it for some of my plants, is a mister, because I know that that will keep everything fresh and alive for a lot longer, especially because it's not going to be outside, so it will need that additional moisture. But anyway, on another note, I'm wearing this red jumper, very festive with the gold buttons. This is another one of those cropped kind of jumper cardigans that are really in at the moment, and another secondhand find. I found this one on Vinted. I personally think that M&S is so underrated, its quality and for the longevity, but this was also, again, it was brand new with a tag, and I think I got it for £22, I want to say. So I think generally the rate for them is like, I think they're £40, so not too bad at all, especially for something. This is my third time wearing it already since I've had it, and I just popped it on with this grey scarf and pair of hard to show, black Topshop military style boots, again from Vinted but originally from Topshop. I think I got them for like £9 or something. So essentially, apart from my jeans, which are Wreath that I've had for quite some years, every single thing that I'm wearing is pre-loved. While in Broughty Ferry, I discovered this place, which is the cheesery, and I am always looking for places that have goats or sheep cheese, because I actually personally cannot tolerate cow's dairy, but I can tolerate goat and sheep. And so I'm always looking for places that have sort of smaller places that have these options, rather than always going to supermarkets. And even supermarkets, it's still sometimes quite hard push to find what I'm needing. So I popped into the cheesery. I did have a couple of goats options, which was nice to see, but I picked up this honey and flour goat log. I just thought this would be a really nice thing for the festive season, and also picked up these Miller's beetroot, potato and spinach crackers. I thought that would be something nice and different, but kind of like a cheese board. So I also picked up some figs and some nuts and bits like that from different places to make a cheese board, and I thought this would just be really nice addition. Last foodie item now is my Tony's advent calendar. I have not had an advent calendar in years, so this one, which I think is usually, or was at the beginning of the season, like 20 odd pounds, and I found this in Oxfam. So it obviously wasn't secondhand, but I know that Tony's they basically donate some of their items to Oxfam so that they can earn some money to charity for it, basically. So I actually bought this. It's got a £10 sticker on it up there, but that's not how much I paid for it. I paid even less. So that was a really nice find. And then also found 4 more, not in Oxfam, but on discount actually. So, and I like Tony's as a brand. I like their flavours, but I also like the ethos and the principles behind their brand.
couple of days later from the last clip, we have been continuing our movie marathon tonight with watching Grease. I have not seen that film in so many years. I forgot how funny it is actually. There's just something about watching movies together that's a bit more kind of connectable on other kinds of devices, and we tend to pause the film a lot and actually laugh and talk about different bits. So I think it's just been a nice kind of thing to do on the colder nights. Anyway, I don't think I mentioned that I did actually make it along to the Ferry Panto. That would have been last week actually. It was so good. It is actually that's my first proper Panto experience, and for a production in a small town, the guys did absolutely amazingly. It was so funny and just so entertaining throughout. And I thought the way that it was kind of, it was so enjoyable for kids and adults alike. I thought that was a really nice thing. But yes, really good experience. If I didn't mention before, they did Rapunzel in Kerry this year. I don't think I'm going to make it along to the Snow White one in Forfeit, unfortunately. I think I mentioned that before. I've just been doing so much this festive season. I think it would just be a bit of a hard push. I think this weekend is going to be Christmas decorations weekend. So today is Friday the 13th. I know for a lot of people that's a really late time to be putting Christmas decorations up. I know so many people who put their decorations up in November, latest at the 1st of December. But I grew up in a household where the general rule of thumb was 12 days before, 12 days after, and as an adult I've just kind of stuck with that. So I actually didn't vlog it, but I actually did make another trip into Broughty Castle Centre and picked up a few more decorations to fill in some gaps. So tomorrow will be all about Christmas trees and making this house a bit more kind of festive-y looking and cozy. I think I'm really looking forward to that, just being creative. So today in Broughty Castle Centre, I will obviously show you when we put everything up, but I was very drawn to sort of the reds and the tartans and things like that, which is generally, red is not a colour that I'm kind of drawn to. But this year I was feeling the red and gold, so there's going to be quite a bit of that going on. The other thing that we did last weekend is we popped into Broughty Ferry. It's been ages since I've been to Broughty Ferry, but I always love, like anywhere really, I was going to say that I particularly love pottering around the charity shops, but that seems to be a common theme of things that I like to do anyway. But Broughty Ferry does tend to have quite a good collection of different things in their charity shops, and they have quite a few different ones all kind of clustered together, so you can really spend quite a good amount of time just moseying through those. So charity shops. But another discovery that I made was a little homeware shop called Time and Tide. A bit like other homeware type shops that I like, they had a good mix of really reasonably priced items but still really nice pieces, and obviously a bit more expensive, but I wouldn't say expensive, although a bit more expensive. But generally they were still reasonably priced, and you could see why the items that were higher priced, they were either bigger items or, basically it was justified anyway. So somewhere that I would very much like to pay a visit again to at some point. They had sort of like an Alice in Wonderland type rabbit which was holding a clock, which I saw. I really loved it, and it's been kind of on my mind of something that I would love to add. It would be a nice Christmas decoration, but I don't think it's one of those ones where if it was on display out of season that it would look out of place. But so that's something that's on my mind. Whether I will make it back there anytime soon, I'm really not sure. But yeah, so it was a really good trip out to Broughty Ferry. I mentioned, I think in the last video, that also popped into Love Your Planet, which is the Broughty Ferry zero waste shop. You know that I use along the table a lot. I actually get majority of my food either from there or from the butchers and things like that. I don't use supermarkets an awful lot. Still do for a few bits and bobs, but I mainly focus on getting my food from there. So it was really nice to see what was on offer in different zero waste shops. And sadly, there was some point, I think, like just before lockdowns and just after, where a lot of zero waste shops popped up in and around Angus. But sadly, over the last few years, I would say definitely in the last like year and a half, I've heard of so many of them closing down, which was a real shame. So I'm really glad to support any of the ones that are still surviving, and hence why it's really important for me, along with many other reasons, to support my local zero waste shop. But anyway, I just thought that this would be a good point to kind of jump on beginning of the next weekend before I get into this weekend's festivities and update you. So I shall probably see you tomorrow, and I will sign off here. I am just about to actually start getting ready for bed, but I thought I would just share with you a book that it's taken me a little while to get through, but that I'm reading at the moment, which is this Nature Remedy book by Faith Douglas. This book is it's kind of centered around mindfulness, and lots of elements in there about mindfulness in lots of different ways, and how nature can help us to be more mindful, basically. So as I say, it's taken me quite some time to get through it, not necessarily because I'm not enjoying it, because at some points I've had like 2 books on the go, the other one which I've finished, and now just finishing up with this one, and I'm nearly through it actually. So I just wanted to make that as a recommendation if you're into that type of book, and for you that it doesn't have to have necessarily a storyline. I found that this book, it's a lot of things which in some ways are seem like common sense. Actually, when you read it, you think, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I think that some things are kind of worded and connected in a way that, like I said, although it's some things that you might already know, sometimes it's almost like a good refresher, or it just helps connect the dots in different ways. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this book. I've recommended it to quite a few people already, and it's actually got my bookmark in it that I got at the Little Green Larder pop-up stalls. Well, I can't remember exactly what it was, way back in May, I think it was. So I am using my bookmark. But yeah, so highly recommend that book. Hey, love. Hi. You look like you've got a cold. You look like you've got a cold little. Hi, is Sunday again, and just finished my Tai Chi classes, and it seems like a bit of a kind of repetition. I've spent more time at Broughty Castle Centre than I think ever in my years of living here in the last few weeks. So I'm back at Broughty Castle Centre. Just quickly, I was here the other day in between the last visit that I updated you on, getting
what I thought was going to be the last kind of bits for the Christmas tree, but I didn't get, which I regretted afterwards. They have huge like velvet bows, and I thought that they were going to be too big for my Christmas tree, because the Christmas tree that they've got it displayed on is huge. And my sister had the brilliant idea of actually using that bow, just one at the top of the Christmas tree, rather than having like an angel or anything that sits on top, which I think would be quite nice. So I've just come to get that, and that only because the last trip that I was here, I got quite a few bits for the tree, or trees I should say. Yesterday was quite a rush, so I think I captured a few little clips and bits and bobs, but I was up at Peel Farm, which is not too far from me actually. It's about 15 minutes drive. I think actually if you look it up it says Kerrymuir, but it's probably more like Glen Isla direction. So we went into there, and they actually had a third off of all their Christmas decorations, which is really nice that that's happening this early, so you can still go and get some bits and bobs if you're needing anything. I love to visit Peel Farm and just have a mosey around. My favourite bit is they've got sort of like the, I don't know if you would call it a craft shop. I think they do call it a craft shop, but with like lots of different kind of makers in there, food bits. But they, through the back, they have like an area where they have like antiques, home bits, and that's my absolute favourite area to go into. I love just moseying around and getting lost in that little Aladdin's cave. We then went along to Forfar, popped into Raspberry Fields again to get the shell decorations that I mentioned before that I really wanted to get. Collectors, really nice items to add to a collection anyway, really unique. So got a couple of them, and also popped in again to Nutscene, of course, just to see what was new, because they always change it up in there. Even throughout the seasons they change bits and bobs, so it was nice to pop in there again as well. So anyway, this is absolutely the last thing that I'm going to purchase for the tree. I think I also, to put it into context, usually I'm not that, I've said before, I've not been that fussed about Christmas decorations in the past, and it is quite a lot of fuss and effort that I'm putting into decorating the house at the moment, and it's probably going to equate to not very much, but that's because I didn't have anything here at all, because I haven't decorated the house in previous years. But just to put it into context, that the reason that this year is slightly different is because the family Christmas day and Christmas holiday is taking place at my house, which has never really happened before. So that's why I'm trying to make it nice for everybody, because I'm going to have my niece and nephew are going to be there as well. So it's just trying to make it that, you know, that festive, fun Christmas, and a bit of a kind of like a throwback to the old time Christmases that we used to have when I was younger and before I moved here and so far away from the rest of my family. So that's just a little bit of context and why I'm going a little bit further this year with decorating the house basically. So anyway, I'm going to pop in for the very last time, she says, famous last words, to Broughty Castle Centre and grab those bows and try not to get distracted from other bits. And then what I think I'm going to do after that is leave the vlog here. So I'm basically just popping on just to show you the last little clips and sign off, because I'm going back home and I'll be picking the vlog back up, but I think it makes sense actually to do that in the next video. But we are going to decorate the Christmas tree and put the decorations up. I mentioned at the beginning of this, much later than I think majority of other people. I'm sure that everybody else has got their Christmas decorations up now, but I am sticking with you know, family tradition, 12 days before, 12 days after. But yeah, so let's pop into Broughty Castle Centre. But if I don't speak to you again after I come out, then I shall see you in the next vlog.